Today was fucking garbage. Let's play Warframe. Truly in a perpetual state of eternal torment. This song is very loud. Ugh. I spilled something on my sweater. Ugh. 1 second. I'm like halfway through an episode of The Office. Is the episode that starts with the fire safety drill? It's so funny. The amount of chaos and destruction is very fun. We're playing Warframe. I don't know if we're gonna be able to finish Mask of the Revenant. I think it depends, because I don't know if we're gonna have to make the entirety of Revenant for the quest, which would be not a good quest, but I don't know. They might still do it. And we are close-ish to beating the Kuva Lich. Well, maybe. I don't know, actually. I don't know what it entails. We're at least close to getting some of the things I need. Maybe.
It's that time again, dreamers.
Oh yeah, I got enough credits off stream to get this thing, which I am going to get. Nihil, the once feared Orokin glassmaker, now imprisoned for eternity in this tiny bottle. Handle with care.
And we're out.
So do I have to actually like put this down to? I think it's a boss fight, which I think would be fun. I think let's do this as well. Just kind of append that to the things I want to do. Oh, I saw it for a second. I'll just throw that on the ceiling. Oh, this is fine. And then I have a key. Oh, that's his like faces in there. Tap.
Small minds die in cells. Great minds do their finest work.
Fighting the hill again. Oh, is this the guy you gotta throw the?
Made a mistake placing me in here. Oh.
Yeah. Is this the guy where you have to throw the Orpheus? Is that what it's called? No, that's the other thing. Should I remember this? Have I done this?
And so the crude laws find they have arrived too late. And thus the weave of history may disguise a coming victory as a defeat. I am Nihil, glassmaker. Order shall be restored.
It says again. I have not done this. I would not forget this, surely.
Every last soul.
Nora Knight?
Find them, dreamer, before we all join.
What is happening? I have no weapons. I can't go to operator. What is happening? They're really hitting me with the I'm not gonna explain a damn thing. Which Warframe is very good at, to be fair. Throw. At him or at the Chris? Here, you have this. It was not for him.
Hoga and hid in the reed. When the Tenno kicked in his door.
Did I? What is this? Oh, that's fun. Okay. I don't know. Am I just supposed to? Am I just meant to just be waiting? Okay, now I need to throw. Yeah, that's really fun and fair, but okay. Oh. This game has a real problem with explaining things. Not even like not even just like saying things like blatantly, but like any like the giving any indication of what the fuck is meant to be happening. From the story game perspective or a gameplay perspective. Okay. Yeah, final statement is this is stupid. Have I really done that? I'm very confused because it says try again or go in again. So does that use the key or can I run it back? Am I supposed to try to get him to shoot these? I don't understand.
Every last glass soul. Find them before we all
All right. Uh-huh. I'm having fun. I'm having fun. Oh. How did that miss? What? I wish you could hold and like aim. Okay.
In the weed when the Tenno kicked in his door.
Okay. Well, see ya. I'm not a huge fan of what's happening right now, I'll tell you that for free. Okay. On top of all that, this guy's just a piece of shit, and I hate him. I don't even know who I'm breaking out. You can't, there's no time to look. Because you get bodied in half a second. We love getting killed in one hit. If you could shoot more of your forehead gems, please. I want to go home. I didn't pick it up.
An old friend wants to say hi.
Love that.
Lot of info in here, Glassmaker. Legum 6-243. No capital sentence shall be passed without unanimous consent with the Seven, on pain of, oh, look at that, forfeiture of all tools of office. Banished. You're a criminal.
Oh, I'm gonna die! Okay, I'm gonna wait. He's gonna teleport. No, he's not gonna teleport. I've been deceived. Fun. Ever shrinking floor when he needs to shoot the floor for you to get an attack in. One hit kills from literally everything he does. Either that or obnoxious slow. Very fun. Oh, that might be true. Please don't move.
Blasting yourself, but you escaped once. Nowhere to run now. No clever way out.
Didn't even fix the floor? No, I need the floor.
Conviction, Glassmaker.
Oh, great. We're breaking the floor more. Oh. Having the floor be breakable takes this really... Oh my god, I hate it.
Shut up, man. We're big.
Alright, I'm into that. Honestly, it's just the getting killed in one hit while you're trying to discern what the fuck is going on. It's so annoying. His attacks are not very readable either. He does I think he does like the same animation where he pulls back if he's doing a side swipe or a vertical slice. Okay, I guess I'm down here now. I mean, the fact you respawn and you're standing on nothing is kind of a testament to honestly what I'm getting out of this fight. There's no way I did this. I would not have forgotten something I hated this much. I'd be like, hey, this sucked. I remember doing this. I hated this. Just give me the fucking floor back, man. Falling out of the level doesn't even do anything. It's just a waste of time. Just stop doing the forehead attack, you fucking moron. Just swing the damn sword.
We ready? Get him. Now sing, you bastard.
Another job well executed.
Never doing that again. Okay.
Here he is, the terror of the Orakin, bottled up like a rich lady's bathwater, or 2 credit.
Well, don't even reference that. Ew.
Prop a door open, bury him 20 feet deep. Either way, he's yours. It's up to you to make sure he never gets loose again. Hell of a day, dreamer. Hell of a day.
Okay. The sword of the fabled Orokin executioner Nihil used to glass the condemned. Swing while aim gliding to glass enemies. Oh. Fun. Well, you know, worth experiencing once, but I'm gonna gladly never do that again. Let's continue this quest. Revenant Chassis. Investigate the planes with the mask on at night. Am I just doing this 3 times, getting every piece, and then that's it? Ugh. And then making it, and then move. Oh, this is not a quest. Please tell me that's not what this is.
The lost one's spirit calls for aid.
Oh, that's what this is.
Him, wherever he is. Are you ready, Tenno?
Ugh. What do? I already forgot. There's no way this is actually what this quest is. Heavy air quotes are on quest. You go out, you find a little spot where Revenant was. You pick it up, you get a piece, you make the piece. It's like a 4-day quest for no reason. I forgot there's a spot on it. I forgot it shows the spot on the map. You're not Revenant Gara? No, I don't care. Ew. look like a goddamn tomato. Oh, I see it.
Kanong, do you see? The lost one struggling. What happened to him? Oh, here we go again. I remember the pool glows, the tendril emerges, and this Warframe draws its weapon to destroy it yet again. Wait, no. He does not strike this time. He watches. Why? The phantom tendril grips trees and rocks, probing for substance. Then fear returns, and the lost one slashes the phantom, sending it back to its purgatory. Why is the Onom doing this to me? Because of Mocha? Because I was too afraid to stay? If I'd been there, he wouldn't have been so brave, so stupid. What was he thinking? The sooner you build this Warframe,
No, they're gonna make me build the whole fucking thing, man. That's not a quest. Oh, no. Ugh. This is not a quest. This is crafting, but there's lore in between each craft. Oh my god, this sucks, dude.
You pay me in red.
Oh, I see. He tells you to die to Konzu to do bounties to get pieces of Revenant, which is not clear at all.
Perhaps you underestimate.
See you again, eh? No.
Dude, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. This is fucking stupid. This is terrible. This is not a quest. What the fuck? Why is this a thing? Yeah, I'm not doing this. I'll look up what the Steel Path is, because I still don't know. The Steel Path is a difficulty modifier for the Origin system hosted by Teshin, testing the Tana's perseverance against significantly more durable enemies. It was just... Players must have completed all nodes. Yeah, let's do it. Steel Path is one of the things I wanted to check out or experience before I was done, but that doesn't sound necessarily all that deep. But I think it still would be fun to finish all the missions. My biggest worry is the Jordis Golem, because my Arkwing I think is garbage. But let's try it and see how we do. Oh Lord. I remember I was trying to get this thing to be stronger at some point. But that never happened. Wow, this thing can fit a lot of juice. I mean, like, let's just try it. I think my Arcwing is so weak. But, let's give it a go. So yeah, okay. So the new goal, I'm not doing that quest. That like the Revenant or the Mask of the Revenant, terrible. It's just such a waste of time. Like it's.
Stirring. It knows you are here. I can feel it wake, finding.
It's not even a quest. It's just farming a Warframe with lore. Except that's always how it worked because the lore was optional. And it's not like I don't care about the lore.
I really thought
to a degree.
More. Have you been using them?
What do you want?
What? No. A few, but you said...
Oh yeah, I gotta use an
Not
emote.
enough for him. You are just like all the others. You won't kill the golem. I don't want you to.
Hey, dreamers. We are up and ready to party.
Joyce, calm yourself. Cephalon to Cephalon, we are here to help.
I remember this. This Jordis is like kind of infested or something. He's a little weirdo. But we'll help him anyway, because we love helping out little weirdos. As a certified little weirdo myself. I will gladly assist.
I see what you're doing. You came for the parts, just like the others. Greedy scavengers. You do not care about Jordis.
Are you trying to shame people who want to farm for items? Don't do that. How dare you? I don't know what you even farm here.
Feel that? The golem. He's coming.
Oh.
Get into position. The golem is here. I am sorry, operator. Wonderful early.
Wait, this is a trap?
I told you not to come. Please be dead.
I hate the poison. It ruins me every time.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Jonas! What kind of Cephalon?
Oh, it's dead.
You cannot stop this. Let us in.
Operator, I am detecting a much larger infested life form. Much larger.
You have no idea of what I am. Join us, and you
Live and learn.
will form you. This
Hanging off the edge of tomorrow. Why don't we use the railjack to fight this thing? Let's blow it up.
44. Get out of there! Prepare for Arcwing, so you can
Obliterate this thing.
I don't know if I can. I remember having an immense amount of trouble, and I don't think my Arcwing has literally gotten any stronger since then.
Target acquired. Take them down.
But we'll try.
I can't control it. I don't want to. Lost little things.
I don't remember what this does. One of these missiles? Maybe I'm thinking of the railjack.
Succumb to us.
No, thank you. I'd actually really rather not.
Keep fighting.
Okay, yeah, that I can get behind though. He farted. I mean, it's not, you know, I'm not annihilating him, but we're making steady progress. How does the sword feel? I don't think he feels it at all. It's kind of not locking onto the thing I want to hit. What's this do?
Like that other Warframe. We will quiet them
too.
Not the most riveting boss fight. Man, he's stinky. Can you smell in space? It must smell like shit. I mean, no, right? Wait. Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know anything about space. I was thinking about last night. Because it was like thundering. How come you don't hear more stories about someone's house getting cracked in half with like a lightning bolt? Like, you think with like, especially like if it stormed in like a big city, you think it would happen way more, right? I feel like there's some like scientific explanation for why it doesn't happen, but I don't know what it would be. I don't know nothing about nothing. Ah, the missiles went to the invulnerable part of him. Don't be mean. We only gotta do it once. Hey! I'm not good. I can't do that with this setup. I don't. What? Stop. Stop it. I'm in 700 sometimes. Was I always doing that? Stop. I'm on fire. That's probably nothing. Really think we should just bring the railjack in. I really think.
I see it. You're the same. They fear themselves.
Really think that would help a lot. One well-placed missile would really do this guy in, I think. Oh my god, the melee sucks. It just focuses on the absolute part. The parts I do not want to hit.
Mortis, you came to save me. Free me.
I should probably just read my abilities. The Warframe emits a massive pulse of energy, stunning nearby enemies and sending them flying. Missiles, flares. Okay. I'm already halfway there! Halfway there! Halfway there! Oh my god. Seed.
Since you are of like flesh, it is confused.
Why do you defile us?
Damn, he's Tokyo drifting.
Nobody makes a fool of Warness.
This fight is nothing. Nothing's happening. Whoa. Anyway. Can I go operator? Shoot by laser?
We are endless.
I'm working on it. I don't have a very good gun.
Please do.
What happened to the 700s? Let's hit 700s again. Where'd those go? Seriously though, where'd those go? What changed? Whoa. If I get real close and then hit 3? Nope, I can't get that close. I was hoping I'm wondering if the missiles will just kind of come out and hit immediately. Didn't really work. Oh wait, I saw something. I saw a blue number. If this is Dauntless, that's stagger damage. This isn't Dauntless though, so that actually doesn't mean anything. Well, that's not true. It means whatever it means in Warframe, which I have no idea. I know white is damage, yellow is crit, gray is immune. Everything else means nothing to me.
I never wanted this. I want to be somewhere else.
Taste someone else.
Oh yeah, that gotta work.
I lied about Precept 44. I am not the only one. They made me sing to beat you.
There are so many more. Useless hollow shells.
Oh, we're almost there. Well, I got missiles again. We're close. I don't think I was close enough.
Succumb to us.
I'd really rather not.
No. Keep fighting.
Yeah. There better not be a second phase. Let me the fuck out of here. I did it. Alright, see ya. How do I leave? Where's my ship? I would like to go. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
What would I have done if I had lost you?
Where is extraction? Hello, extraction? Hello, extraction? Alright.
Target down. Assassination contract complete.
Atlas. Oh, yummy severed bile sack. Just like Mom used to make. Well, if I ever want Atlas, I won't. Can I, like, I don't want this quest to pop up on my damn screen. Alright. Everything else should be pretty straightforward. We already did this one, so we're good there. I mean, it's a good thing I did that yesterday, actually. Let's do these Lua missions. Aren't they, like, real scary? Oh, what the fuck? Ow. Am I capable? I don't know.
Alright, tube mutts. Let's give our little rabbit a wee head start. And then off we go, hounds. Whoop, whoop.
The Worm Queen has no control over the corrupted. It is enough for her that they are hostile to us. The Orican Neural Sentry is attempting to purge you from this place. Stand by for life support.
The void increases ability, strength, and casting speed. Oh. It sure does. Can the void stop me from getting fucking dumpstered? Just gotta survive for 5 minutes. How hard could it possibly be? Did I get my weapon back? I mean, it took me 30 seconds to die once, so it's probably not a great sign of things to come. Who this? I can use my necromech? Yeah. I forgot how to get it. Is it strong enough? Well, I can hurt people. I don't have to be in this circle, right? I just did general. So Lua was pulled from the void at some point, right? That's the lore here. Oh yeah, I forgot my 1 doesn't work. I always forget that. I'm gonna die. Throw it! My necromech is way too weak for this. But I got a level, so it's worth it. Alright. What's this guy about? Oh. Hello? Is he helping or trying to murder me? Hey yo, Lone Guardian, what are you up to? Where'd he go? Don't leech my damn energy. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Oh, hello again. What's up, man?
Sentient scouts. If they detect you,
Huh?
fighters will soon attack.
I understand. It's like a rat patrol in Vermintide. Also, where are they? What if I just shoot them a lot? I think they might have seen me. There's a chance. Oh Lord Jesus! It's fun. I really need HP. I can take some sentience. It's not a problem. Oh, it's a little bit of a problem. Oh, it's a problem! No, it's time to go.
Extraction is ready. Void manifestations drawn to this cursed place of stolen lives. They will drain your life support unless they are destroyed.
Nope, time to go. I'm not on the tier of Warframe gamer that can hang out here for this length of time. What is this? Arclabix. Okay. It's another. It's just getting. We're just getting the missions done. We're just getting the missions done. Apollo. Disruption. Let's do it. Alright, this should be much easier. Yeah, muckety mucks. I know.
Asset security. Conduits. Put the key in, and you can pull the shinies out. Trick is, you've got to wait to open. Something happens to the conduit before you can pull the goods.
You don't get the goods. Ever.
Also, the bleeders Alad sold the tech to will try to kill you.
What? Someone's gonna try to kill me?
Bypass so we can get this thing started.
Gastric?
This isn't your regular vulture. Alad V sold the conduits with interference routines specifically designed for the...
Father Time now. Yeah, I know, dude. I was there.
Conduit keys are carried by high-ranking...
Muckety mucks. I know. Muckety mucks. I know. Shield boost!
Find a matching conduit.
Don't look very boosted to me.
Hear that beeping? Demo unit's on its way.
I don't, and that's a problem. Wait. Sometimes they just mark them for you, sometimes they don't. I don't understand why they do that. Or why it's not always, or not, or is never. Like, why is it a sometimes? I don't really get that. Feels a little arbitrary. But perhaps there is something I don't understand. Hello! Key! Not key? What is this? Pick up blue key. That is a key. I thought it was a dead robot. It was not. It is a key. Maybe they changed these missions in general. Something... I feel like the key icon was different. Maybe they changed something. I can't. This way? Well, now he's gone. Oh, no, he's returned. I got him. Man, I remember doing these for the first time and getting absolutely shitted on. Shit on you!
Routine. How's that feel?
I'm speedy. Hello? Hello? I can hear you. Why don't you fiddle with every incoming routine? I feel like you're just being lazy. Okay, I was gonna get that focus thing, but I changed my mind too far. Big Ayatan sculpture. Let's take it home. So much endo. Holy shit, it's Scrumbus. That seems bad.
Keep it clear of that Conduit.
Okay, don't yell at me. What the? He's teleporting?
Got a few seconds before the system resets. We can take them again. Game?
Nope. Bye-bye. We're just getting it done.
Right. They're back. And they're well pissed off. You got out while you still could. Smart move.
Alright. Ultra Prime stock, that's good. Maybe. I might already have one, I don't remember. Alright, where else we gotta go? Deimos. Oh, all the Deimos ones, all the Zariman ones. What's this set in the first? Why? I don't know. No real reason, I guess. Vaudianoi and Kappa. I don't have enough judgment points. Ugh. Okay, let's get more judgment points. Oh, I feel like vomit. Hello? Is this a time thing or a points thing? I don't remember. I don't... Actually, I say I don't remember, but I don't think I ever knew. Rock. 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 Oh.
The executioners.
Yeah. I did it. Who said that? Stuff. Wow, cool.
Come on, executioners. This is all you've been good at. Don't mess it up.
These guys suck. Can they... How many points ahead do I need to be for mercy rules to kick in? That's the end, though. Unless we're getting something. That's crazy. This is sad to see. Really, quite a poor performance from the Grenier. But then again, when have they performed optimally? Oh, they suck, man! You just spawn more. I'll just get kills faster. Oh! Oh my god! Oh, my back! I'm dying. It's all the slash damage they're doing. Oh, and the fact my health is halved does not help. Oh, there's health on the ground, right. No, I want to look at my endo supply. I don't care about my score. I'm owning. That's apparent. These guys suck ass. Their team is trolling. Victory. No, versus 25. Yahoo! I did it. Report executioner Doc Thol inting. Okay. Now we can do this. 85 day. This one could actually be a problem. This one could be contentious. Tougher enemies. Well, that's not great. What the hell was that laugh? That's how I feel about your cat. That's how I feel about your cat. That's how I feel about you. Imagine cheating and still losing. Imagine bringing your damn pet to try to help and you still suck ass. Simple. I hope that other mission was not an arena. I mean, it's fine, but it's like... It's fine. Rather just do a normal mission, though. I feel like the PvP in this game must be so... I don't even know the word. It just does not sound enjoyable. Just with the way it feels. Just with the way the PvE feels. I just can't see it. I assume it's dead. And always dead. Or that anyone who does play, it's like, it feels like it's one of those things where it's probably highly competitive, or no, not highly competitive, it's just dominated by some, like, it's like going to play Dark Souls 1 and doing PvP, it's just like, the only people that are still there are gonna, like, body you in half a second. So there's no accessibility. I did. Or just no one plays it. That also wouldn't be the surprising. Oh. Alright, another mission done. Not nearly as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Alright, this is just a disruption. Easy peasy. Oh my god, Fortuna, I know.
Allied Bay selling the latest in asset security. Conduits. Put the key in and you can pull the shinies out. Trick is, you've got to wait to open. Something happens to the conjure before you can pull the goods. You don't get
no goods. Ever.
Also, the bleeders Allied sold the tech to will try to kill ya.
What?
Give that console the old bypass so we can get this thing started. This isn't your regular old job. Allied B sold the conduits with interference routines specifically designed for the...
I gotta go look at that thing's face that I did not like what I saw.
Yee! Carried by high-ranking mucks. Knock them down. See what they've got.
Electrify. Okay. Damn, bitch. Then I just won't go near them.
Right. Find a matching conduit. Demo unit looking to depart this mortal coil and take you with it. Keep it clear of that conduit.
I'm so disoriented. Where is the thing I'm looking for? I have key required, insert key, collect key. Yes. Yes. Come on now. Am I going the wrong way? Probably. Yep. Oh. This time, we're good. We're good. Oh, man. So I'm gonna say, maybe I should... I don't know, I want to push through and see if we can... Well, I don't know, maybe we...
Performance... improvement? I Won't be looking that
I'm
Cupido in the
thinking.
mouth.
I don't know. I love Warframe, but it probably goes without saying that I haven't enjoyed every single design element I've seen. I'm pretty well and done with it. At least, like, good to put it on pause until, like, or to be done with it for now. Oh, nice, Gorgon!
Demo unit incoming. Don't let them near the conduit.
I don't know how people do it, man. The people who only play one game on stream, oh my god. This seems so exhausting.
Taking squared away. Right, same again.
Alright, easy peasy. I mean, I guess there's, like, the obligation, which I get. That's been a hard thing to get over,
Sunshine.
like, making RuneScape videos and being, like, I don't want to say known for it, but it is the way I've become known.
Shiny secured and we're in the wind. I'll send your cut bar.
Like, everyone who watches my channel sub because of that. And it's like, it's cool, but also, like, there's pressure. I don't know. So I get it to a degree. But also, like, a lot. This year I've been trying to internalize making stuff, first and foremost for me. For two reasons. One,
Nora's got the goods for
the human race is a bunch of, like, a lot of really cool people, but also a bunch of shitters that are probably aren't worth planning your life around. And also, I forget the other reason. I don't know. It's just better to make stuff for you first. Like, if people like it, that's cool. I don't know. It's just like, ugh, so exhausting. Worrying about what other people want out of what you do.
Too close to our nest. Too close. Howdy, howdy.
These things are freaky. Also, they're spilling the quum everywhere. Like, to be full transparent, sometimes I really struggle with making videos because, like, if we assume half of my audience are, like, cool people I get along with and half are, like, utter pieces of garbage, sometimes I get, like, a little, maybe petty, and I'm like, I don't want to make videos for, like, a potential slew of people who suck ass. But that's when I back up and I go, well, I shouldn't make them for that. That's why I shouldn't make the videos for those people anyway. What, this guy's shielding like crazy? Is it because he's standing in the quum? They love that shit. Or maybe it's that Doom Crystal. It might be the Doom Crystal. Which is why, like, for me, I gotta make stuff for me at first and foremost, because in those moments where I'm like, where I get like I don't want to make things for, like, potentially shitty people. Which is also conjecture and not a good way to think about it. I realize, but, you know. Look, I don't have really healthy thinking patterns a lot of time. And I'm aware of this. And I'm working on it. But also, therapy's expensive, so I have to wait for the free shit. Anyway, I forgot what my point was. Make things for yourself. Very important. What is this? Abilities use no energy and cast faster. Yes. Nine minutes? Okay. I mean, I'll just hang out. Two ribbon silvers. Hello. Necrocoil, stone, trony orbs, accelerated isotope. Oh wait, you're... No, are you cool? What are you doing? What the fuck? Hello? This place is freaking weird. I don't know if anyone else has realized this. It's like, I take the sweater off. It's actually now too warm. Oh. God damn. It's been so cold lately, and it's so hot, and it's so cold. Ugh, I hate it. Our planet is fucked. Like, it's been freezing the last few days, and now I'm sweating. What? Demon? Oh, it's just the snake guy. He had wings, apparently. If I can unlock Steel Path tonight, I'll be happy. I guess I should have done it. Well, obviously I can't, obviously retro, or, you know, hindsight. But I guess if I didn't do the quests first, I would have just unlocked it. I don't know if that's how that works, though. Or if you have to do the quests. But I assume Steel Path, yeah, no, Steel Path was in the game before the quest, so they must have just made it so you also have to do those nodes to unlock it. So I guess, yeah, not doing the quests would have gotten me there faster, though I don't know how much it matters. I don't know what the benefits of it are. Other than it's cool. It sounds cool. The Steel Path? That's cool. gross. Oh, that's a very, very clean mirror. Oh. Window, not a mirror.
One must make the best.
Oh god, it's so hot. I know if I turn my fan on, I'm gonna freeze. Oh my god, humans. How do I pick a mission from here?
Ah, Tenno. I forget what. Ah, a fresh opportunity. Yes, I'm sure we've to work.
Vessel capillaries. Trotting Lanthorn, Bellow, Voca, Ruvox. I mean, I do want Dante. I mean, that's not a. We're not gonna do that now, but.
Very good, Tenno.
I don't know. How do you pick a mission from here?
There you are. I would your attention, please.
It's not bounties, right? That's a completely different thing.
Let us see if we cannot find something suited to your competencies. One struggles to fathom your. Yes, yes.
Yeah. What's up here? I guess someone appears here? These people are clearly talking to someone. Just...
What do you use these things for anyway? Mr. Fishinacci said I had to hold these for you.
Okay. Cool.
Bye-bye now.
I appreciate that there's stores for customizing the orbiter. I don't know. Some other deep Arkham media. What? Okay, so this is something I just haven't unlocked, which is absurd that they're still. It feels like I've done so much, but they're still like what? Who are these people talking to?
Tenno. Let's put you to work.
What the fuck? Lotus is sentient nature, including her original name. Dax Teshin has revealed himself as a rival mentor, claiming that the Lotus cannot be trusted. The Tenno has encountered Nata's father, the sentient war leader Hun Hao, whose remains lie beneath the oceans of Uranus. Hun Hao had expected Nata to destroy the Tenno in accordance with their original mandate. The Lotus continues to reject her sentient nature and seems concerned to retain the Tenno's trust. Oh, so she wasn't just being controlled. That was actually what she wanted. Well, that's... makes me want to be around her much less.
I'm quite content down here, I assure you.
That's cool.
I'll just pop. I wait.
Maybe I just leave? Like if there's a door out here?
Be a love and look into the meaning of.
It can't be that complicated. Alpha Legend.
The bell. Who? Me? I know you can take a punch, but cracking a Netracell's serious business. Keep
This is the stuff that you gotta be a freak for.
Are we heading out then? Yeah, okay.
Is that the Netracell thing? Or no, is this where you pick a mission? Oh yeah, okay.
Draw out Murmur, and then grind them down. Fight them out there, so we need never again battle them in here. Trigger the alarms.
Oh.
The Murmur aims to choke you out. Not
how?
today. Preparing a life support capsule.
I want more explanation. How are they doing that? How are they taking my life support away? They're like sentient arms and legs. I want to know. I refuse to suspend my disbelief. Explain it to me right now. What is this? The big syringe. Energy orbs grant 1 energy per second for the rest of the mission. Oh. Yeah, sure. Is there a catch to these? Stop that. Don't build a table in the middle of the room. It's very distracting. It feels like there should be a catch.
Capsule incoming! Use it well. They're expensive.
I don't think anything's happening negatively. Yo, stop doing that. Leave. Fortnite looking ass. Building a damn table looking ass like you do in Fortnite. Who the hell said all that? Oh, is it Gruzzling? Well, hold up. What are y'all doing? I mean, I saw him last mission. I don't really... He seems to be up to some nefarious shit. Oh. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening down here.
Sending another capsule. He's not going crazy though.
Huh. Oh, I've got 7,000 frames in the past 5 minutes. That's fun. I love that. Was that the red icon that was being marked? Ugh, I'm dropping frames, man. God damn it. Are these... I don't know if these are daily missions or weekly. If they're daily... Well, I guess either way, if the stream's dropping... Yeah, I mean... If that's happening, then I can't do much about it, huh? Oh, I love paying money for this internet. I love that I pay money for this. Oh, everything's disconnecting. My chat's dead. Oh, lovely. Alright, well, I'll just finish the mission and end the stream. I'm not... Probably goes without saying I'm not in a great headspace for this anyway. I wouldn't say I'm fully on. Another rowboat? Leave. What was that? That was just a guy. I mean, unless it figures itself out. I mean, I don't know. It's a very laid-back stream today. Nope, I'm out of here.
But I think you have more fight in you than that.
Don't do that. Radiation heavy attack efficiency? I don't even know what that means. What does that even mean?
Do come along. You are needed. And this melancholy is unbecoming.
I don't know, is there a way to... I don't know how you would even check. It feels like something you just have to know. I don't know if it'll reset. I mean, I want to keep playing, but I don't want the internet to break and then ruin everything. Seems okay. Bald ass. They should have given him a big fro to get lost in. I'll run another mission. It seems okay now. Alchemy. I assume I did assassination. I'm kind of, you know what? I'm interested. I assume I did an alchemy during the quest, but I don't actually know what it was.
To find it, administer a visionary serum to our Vitrium scanners.
Viltrumite scanners? Acquire an Atropos probe. Give me this. Fill the waiting eyeball, huh? What? What the fuck?
We require it to see on our behalf.
The Vitrium seeks. Murmur eyes. What? What? What the fuck? What? Why am I collecting eyeballs? Hey, stop that. They mark you on my screen for a damn reason. I don't know what that reason is, but it's enough to make me want to murder you. Oh, because he drops those things, I guess? Is the boss just gonna be the dude I fought during the quest? I guess that makes sense. Are there... Oh, hello. This looks important. Vitrium blinded. Sorry. The Vitrium seeks. Okay, who's doing all the shield business? That's enough of that. Why am I collecting eyeballs? This game's fucking weird!
Our quarry evades detection. More serum, more visions.
Dude, this is... I'm thoroughly whelmed. A new supply of eyeball have spawned. That's not an eyeball.
This can all be over quickly if you want to risk probing multiple Victrium scanners at once.
I don't think I do.
Case study in risk assessment.
Honestly, I'm good. I'll do it one at a time. Too much happening. I'm already overwhelmed as is. Nothing wrong with taking it slow. What the hell is this? Oh, grow up. This is, frankly, too much. Okay, good. I don't want to be here anymore.
They're good, but not enough. Acquire more serum and stimulate another Victrium.
Okay. Shouldn't have done that. Secondary weapons deal red critical hits. Can I only have one of these active at a time? Because that's not the one, if it is. Or if that's the case, rather.
Take it. It's yummy.
Is it yummy? Wait, seriously, is it yummy? You think I won't drink this shit? That's awful. We're just probing eyeballs?
The murmur seeks to protect its eyes. Ha! I've got a Tenno.
What's going on here? Oh, someone was consuming an eyeball? Very cool. This is horribly overwhelming.
The murmur stares back at us. Oh, take its eyes. They will lead you to your target. Quickly now.
I mean, it's like kind of cool, but also it's definitely like total nonsense, right? Like this isn't, there's no explanation. What's the story explanation for what the hell's going on here? I don't think there is one. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that, fish man. It's already breaking my brain enough. Also, don't have colleagues. And I never goddamn will. I'm dying alone and you're just gonna have to deal with it. Indiscernible. Impossible to perceive what's happening. Okay. Probably took longer than it needed to, but, you know, we're learning. Every time he says Vitrium, I can't not think about Viltrumite. The words are too similar, and my brain is too small. Who's this? Hello, the Atomizer. Can you leave? Summon the fragmented tide. Oh, I'm stuck. That's fine. Yeah, it's just freak again. That's fine. Manageable.
At last, it could be destroyed.
Coward! Show yourself. Oh no. What the fuck is going on? He turned into a pillar of light? Got him. Ooh.
As it was written,
I like my items like I like my women. Unidentifiable. A wide question mark. Sorry? I don't speak Italian. Alright, so those Bella ones, I guess we have to just keep an eye out for those. Ooh. Oh, right, right, because I guess that makes sense. They drop melee arcanes, because those are new with this update. 5% melee damage for every 200 current shield. Bonus half for overshield, but still, like, even if... Like, I had 20k overshield when I was doing that relic yesterday. That still seems insane. Like, if you play a frame with over... Like, but that actually sounds disgusting. Or, like, it could be very gross if you had a really good melee weapon. That sounds like it could be kind of gross. Alright. Disruption, mirror defense, alchemy. Oh, it's also a fissure, which we're not going to do, but...
Heat, cold, toxin,
What?
and electricity. The elemental forces that create our universe. To wield them, Papa invented the crucibles. Incredible devices capable of fusing these elements into the complex elemental forces.
Okay.
All this we require to complete Papa's vision. I have marked a crucible. Go there now.
I'm here.
This crucible requires feeding with the prescribed elemental forces.
Okay.
These can be found within the ampoules. Retrieve them
Here you
from
go.
the murmur and put them to use. Or, if emergency arises, hell them at your assailants and observe the results. Stupid mineral things. Combine
Understood.
electricity with heat to make radiation.
Alright, cool mission. New mission type. I'm into it. It's a little hard to take it all in when I'm getting bodied, but still cool. Okay, so I need fire and electricity, so I don't need to combine anything. I don't know if I will later. Let's focus on them now. I know! I'm surrounded by demons! Golly! Oh, I see. I need to make radiation, so I need... I didn't notice the radiation symbol in the middle. Which one is this? That's toxin. A little bit of that. One of these. And I guess I can use the ice ones just for fighting if I want to, but I don't want to too much to think about. I'll just hope everything kind of just dies as I do this. There's so many foes. I need fire. Maintain ideal pressure range. No, what does this mean? How? Please explain to me how. Who the fuck is this? Stop slapping me, you bitch! Do I throw more juice? How do I make it? How do I make it down? How do I make it go down? Shoot the valve to release pressure. Get the fuck these demons! I'm dead as shit. I'm dead as hell. Look how many goddamn enemies there are on the map. Shoot the valve to okay, hold up. I need to shoot the Bone Widow to relieve its existence before I do anything. How are there so many enemies? That's more than enough. I can't see the valve. I can't shoot the valve to release pressure because I can't see the valve. What is this? Is this a valve? Okay. They're not on the machine. I understand.
Our pressure target is shifting.
Why? Oh, Lord. This game expects too much from me. I'm not built for this. This thing can't, like, die. I need more... Also, I appreciate that it goes up even if you're not in the exact ideal pressure. It's just an option to be more efficient. I like that. Makes it so if you're getting absolutely swarmed like I am, you're not just not making any progress. Where are you people coming from? God, I can't break them quick enough. That's also pretty quick. I don't like that. Ugh, dropping frames again. God damn it. Oh, I did it. So what was I making? No.
Papa's vessels move one step closer to completion. Huzzah! Should you feel the need to withdraw, the path to the sanctum is open to you. Naturally.
Cool mission. Overwhelming. I guess I should keep an eye out for things to pick up. Nah, that's not really my goal. If I see them, I see them. If not, sure, it's fine. It's not what I'm here for right now. Okay, I dropped a little bit of framing, but we're back. Oh, I got... these are for something. That's important. Where the hell am I? Alright, what we got? Two to go. Mirror defense, disruption. I remember the mirror defense is killing. They only have one other one of those, I think.
Albrecht's laboratory is under siege, with the Murmur attacking on two separate fronts. I need you to defend every single one of them, with all your might.
Okay. Oh, it's this thing, right. This I remember.
The Murmur are shifting to the Oracle.
What?
We must hear them, whatever the cost to our sanity.
No. I was not told my sanity would be up for hire. Just my ability to commit murder. That was not in the job description. So I guess that's always in the job description. I mean, in the job... Wait. Never mind. Ugh, god damn it, this fucking internet, man. Yeah, double XP. Wait, I don't care about that. I'm maxed out there now. I don't remember what this does. But it can't hurt. Alright, I'm just gonna end the stream after this. I'm not doing all this shit today. Today already fucking sucked ass. It's like dealing with constantly feeling like I'm not welcome in my own home. I just want to leave, but I'm on fucking disability, so I can't. I think. I don't know. Maybe I need to talk to someone about that. If we found out if that's even an option. Oh, right, it gives it a shield. This looks demonic. Sorry for the frame dropping. I mean, I can't do anything about it. Let's finish this mission and call it. And then, I guess tomorrow, if I can get enough... If I can get enough... Requiem relics and void traces, we could probably finish up Warframe tomorrow. Depending on how in-depth I want to go with the whole... Oh my god, this internet's driving me fucking crazy. I don't know, I guess it depends on what Steel Path has to offer. If there's anything interesting I want to try out immediately. But I mean, if it sounds like it's just a harder difficulty, so I probably won't do anything, but we'll see. Ugh. Oh, good. Network not respondable. No, I don't want double infinity. I like that you get a reward other than the shield for doing that. I mean, the shield's nice, but not entirely necessary. So it's nice that there's a little more incentive. Keep on shaking and moving. Done.
Your strength has made all the difference.
Thanks, man. Your strength did nothing.
If we must.
I leave. Alright, I'm gonna call it. We'll finish up all the missions tomorrow. Hopefully these missions are weekly things, so I'm not, like, I didn't just do all... I mean, I got some stuff out of it, but... I mean, it's not anything that's gonna affect the stream. Oh my god, my internet is dead. Okay. I don't even know if this is gonna load. I'm just gonna call it here. Hopefully, we'll finish up my last 2 Warframe goals, which is to unlock Steel Path and to... Oh, there it goes. Beat my Kuvelich tomorrow. Oh, God. Sorry. No, I'm not... You know what? I'm not sorry. I mean, I'm sorry that it's happening, but I'm not making my internet lag. My shitty internet company is, so I'm not gonna apologize. What? Oh. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna go. My stream's just dying. I don't know what. I'm in like a weird first person thing. I don't know what happened here. What the hell? Alright, have a good night. And then it stops lagging as soon. I don't care. I'm done. Have a good night. See you.